It is the ultimate reality TV irony. Cody Brown sits in front of the TLC cameras, his face tight with frustration, bitterly complaining that his ex-wife Janelle is actively poisoning his adult children against him. He paints himself as the tragic victim of a massive family conspiracy, completely blind to the absolute truth staring him right in the face. His daughter Maddy Brown didn't need anyone to turn her against her father. She simply walked away, escaped his suffocating control, and built a massive, highly successful life 2,000 miles away in North Carolina. Cody is so caught up in his own ego that he cannot see the reality. Maddie's incredible new empire exists strictly because she cut him out of it completely. The Brown family patriarch has been entirely erased from his own daughter's legacy, and the way she pulled it off is nothing short of brilliant. If you love deep dives into the untold truths of reality television, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update on this ongoing family drama. To truly understand the magnitude of this betrayal, you have to look back at how deeply intertwined Cody and Maddie used to be. There was a time when she was viewed as the ultimate daddy's girl. He proudly stood at the altar and officiated her wedding to Caleb, beaming with pride as if he had single-handedly orchestrated her happiness. He reveled in the spotlight, cementing himself as the benevolent patriarch giving away his prized daughter. Fast forward to today, and the contrast is absolutely staggering. The man who once demanded to be the center of her wedding didn't even know she was pregnant with her recent children until the news broke to the public. The stunning drop from being the center of her universe to being a complete stranger is a direct result of his own actions. But Cody refuses to look in the mirror. But that wasn't the whole story. For years, Cody has paraded around demanding respect, trying to take full credit for the undeniable work ethic of his older children. He loves to brag about how his specific parenting style in Lehigh and Las Vegas bred resilience and hustle. But in a brilliant, calculated move of defiance, Maddie launched Taeda Farms in North Carolina alongside Janelle, fully erasing his influence. They took a massive 156-acre property and began turning it into a booming homestead and flower farm. Janelle is literally investing her hard-earned money into the fertile soil of North Carolina, creating a humiliating contrast to the barren, untouched dirt Cody has been hoarding at Coyote Pass in Flagstaff. And the most beautiful part of this entire endeavor is that Cody's name is nowhere to be found. Maddie and Janelle have officially established a brand new family dynasty, fully funded and operated by the exact women Cody thought he could financially and emotionally manipulate. They are clearing land, building homes, and securing their future without a single dime or word of advice from him. By making this project highly public, Maddie created the ultimate trap, entirely stripping her father of his favorite talking point. Armed insider reports have recently surfaced, and the details surrounding Cody's reaction are absolutely wild. Rumors suggest that when Cody realized just how profitable and popular Taeda Farms was becoming, he completely lost his temper behind closed doors. Exclusive theories floating around production circles claim that Cody genuinely believed he was legally entitled to a percentage of their new business simply because they were using their reality television fame to promote it. Reports claim he aggressively looked into whether he could force network executives to wrap the farm's progress into his own contractual storyline, essentially trying to siphon a paycheck from his daughter's hard work without ever stepping foot on her property. There has been a massive amount of buzz online about Cody allegedly making desperate phone calls, demanding that his name or the overarching family brand be attached to Taeda Farms to save his plummeting plummeting public image. Verified leaks even suggest that his remaining wife, Robin, has been furious about fans throwing overwhelming support at Janelle and Maddie's new venture, viewing it as a direct threat to their own financial survival. Of course, none of this has been officially verified by the network, but fans are speculating heavily that Maddie shut down these demands instantly with a strict legal boundary, leaving Kody furious and financially locked out. This massive power shift puts Kody in a brutal credibility dilemma. He is caught in an inescapable double bind. He is forced to either publicly admit that he had absolutely nothing to do with Maddie's incredible entrepreneurial success, or double down on his wild delusion that he is still the respected head of a household that lives 2,000 miles away. We all know which path he naturally chose. He continues to act like a wronged king, entirely oblivious to the fact that his kingdom has successfully moved on without him. When confronted with questions about his children's lives on camera, he gets incredibly defensive, claiming they are deliberately keeping him in the dark to punish him. In his mind, he is still the son that the entire family is supposed to orbit around. But the reality is that Maddie's world in North Carolina is entirely self-sufficient. Every time Kody tries to assert his dominance or complain about disloyalty on television, he just ends up looking like a bitter man shouting at an empty room. And what happened next would hit Kody where it hurts the absolute most, which is his bank account. The stakes have skyrocketed because Kody is utterly desperate for a compelling storyline to keep his network checks cashing. The show remains his only significant source of income, and for years, he relied on the highly profitable, heartwarming grandfather angle to soften his abrasive image. Viewers loved seeing the family gather together to celebrate new babies and milestones, but Maddie has completely severed his access to that lucrative narrative. She adamantly refuses to film with him and will not allow her children to be used as props to redeem a man who refuses to respect her boundaries. Armed reports claim that network executives have explicitly warned Kody that without the older children and the grandchildren, his personal storyline is practically worthless. It's been said that producers are heavily favoring Janelle and Maddie's fresh, uplifting journey of homesteading over Kody's endless toxic rants. By denying him screen time with her kids, Maddie isn't just bruising his ego. She is directly threatening his livelihood and controlling the one asset he desperately needs to stay relevant. But the ultimate silent snub, the absolute knockout blow to Kody's crumbling legacy, was still to come. The family recently endured an unimaginable tragedy when Maddie's brother Garrison tragically offed himself under heartbreaking circumstances. The devastating loss shattered everyone, but it also exposed the deep, unrepairable fractures that Kody's behavior had created over the years. The entire family, entirely free from Kody's controlling influence, banded together in immense grief and solidarity. Just around the 1-year anniversary of her brother's passing, Maddie welcomed her 4th child into the world. In a move that brought countless fans to tears, she named her beautiful newborn daughter Amelia Estelle. The name Estelle translates to star in Latin, which Maddie publicly confirmed was a direct and intentional tribute to Garrison. It was a profound, touching homage to a brother she loved fiercely, a beautiful way to keep his bright spirit alive in the next generation. But noticeably absent from this monumental family milestone was any mention whatsoever of Kody. There was no nod to the patriarch, no olive branch extended, and absolutely no attempt to include him in the joy of his new granddaughter's arrival. Maddie used this deeply personal, highly publicized moment to honor the true heart of her family, entirely omitting the man who claims to be its leader. This absolute freezing out of her father did not happen overnight. It is the direct culmination of a fatal behavioral flaw that has defined Kody for decades, which is his toxic demand for conditional love. He simply does not know how to be a parent without heavy strings attached. He demands blinding loyalty, absolute submission, and total obedience before he is willing to offer even the most basic parental affection or support. If a child questions him, as Maddie frequently did due to her incredibly strong-willed nature, he doesn't respond with understanding or patience. He reacts with defensive rage. Maddie herself recently spoke out on a podcast explaining that her father views any disagreement or differing opinion as a massive, unforgivable betrayal. She realized that trying to maintain a relationship with a man who demands you shrink yourself to inflate his ego was destroying her own mental peace. She recognized that protecting her children from his erratic, highly conditional affection was her primary job as a fiercely protective mother. Kody fully expected Maddie to bow down and beg for his approval. Instead, she built a magnificent fortress of love, stability, and success that he simply isn't allowed to enter. But Kody's delusion doesn't stop at demanding respect from afar. It bleeds into his deeply calculated yet entirely failed emotional appeals on national television. If you watch his recent confessional interviews, you will see a man desperately trying to manipulate the audience's sympathy. Kody looks directly into the lens, tears welling up in his eyes, and his voice cracking as he talks about the agonizing pain of missing out on his grandchildren's lives. He paints a tragic picture of a grandfather who has been cruelly ripped away from little Axel and Evie, framing himself as a heartbroken victim of a vicious family freeze-out. But the absolute inauthenticity of this performance is staggering, and the fans have mercilessly torn it apart. Viewers were incredibly quick to point out the blatant, humiliating truth. Kody literally refuses to pick up the phone to call his own grandchildren. He has all the power in the world to dial a number, hop on a FaceTime call, or send a birthday gift, but he actively chooses not to. His twisted logic is that he will completely withhold his presence from his grandchildren until their grandmother, Janelle, issues him a formal, groveling apology for her perceived disloyalty. He is weaponizing innocent toddlers to win a petty ego battle against his ex-wife. There has been a lot of buzz online about what is really happening when the cameras stop rolling during these emotional breakdowns. I mean, insider reports claim that Kody's on-screen tears are entirely manufactured, and that behind the scenes, he throws massive tantrums whenever producers try to push him to just make a simple phone call to North Carolina. Rumors suggest that the production team practically begged Kody to swallow his pride and film a simple video chat with Maddie's kids to give his storyline some much-needed warmth, but he aggressively refused, allegedly shouting that reaching out would make him look weak and submissive to Janelle's side of the family. Exclusive theories floating around the reality TV sphere even claim that Kody has actively forbidden anyone in his immediate Flagstaff household from sending gifts or cards to Maddie's children, demanding complete solidarity in his silent treatment. While these reports remain verified, the sheer cruelty of holding toddlers hostage in a proxy war perfectly aligns with the bitter, isolated man viewers watch week after week. It is a completely failed emotional appeal that only exposes how deep his narcissistic tendencies truly run. This brings us to the profound thematic hypocrisy that defines Cody Brown's entire existence and the core moral of this fractured fractured family saga. For decades, Kody has loudly and aggressively demanded blinding loyalty, positioning himself as the unquestioned head of the household. He believes that his mere title as the patriarch entitles him to absolute obedience, financial control, and total reverence from every single wife and child. Yet, the glaring reality is that he provides zero financial, emotional, or physical presence to the very household he claims to lead. He demands that his adult children respect a throne he doesn't even sit on. While he was busy hiding away in $1 million mansion with Robin, purchasing expensive artwork, and ignoring his older children, Janelle and Maddie were left to fend for themselves. They had to hustle, secure their own brand deals, and physically build their own futures from the ground up. Kody expects the perks of being a deeply respected father figure without putting in a single ounce of the actual labor required to earn that respect. He essentially abandoned the ship, left the crew to drown, and is now screaming from the shore that they aren't saluting him as their captain. The depths of this hypocrisy become even more shocking when you look at the recent financial rumors surrounding the family. Verified leaks and reports claim that Kody's financial situation in Flagstaff is rapidly deteriorating, creating a massive panic behind closed doors. It has been said that Kody completely expected Janelle's income to continue funneling into the overarching family pot, even after they separated, simply because he believes he is entitled to the fruits of her labor. Exclusive theories suggest that when Janelle officially redirected all of her assets and future earnings straight into Taeda Farms alongside Maddie, Kody felt completely robbed. Rumors are swirling that he even consulted attorneys to see if there was a loophole in their old TLC contracts that could force Janelle to hand over a cut of her homesteading profits. While fans are speculating heavily about just how desperate his bank accounts are looking, it is clear that Maddie's financial independence is Kody's worst nightmare. She completely cut off the money supply, stripped away his control, and exposed him as a hollow patriarch who has absolutely nothing tangible to offer his family. Because of Maddie's relentless drive and strict boundaries, a massive reality check has hit the Brown family dynamic, resulting in Kody's absolute and total isolation. Coyote Pass was supposed to be the ultimate family compound, the sprawling paradise where Kody would preside over his massive flock for generations to come. Instead, it is nothing but a barren, neglected plot of dirt, bogged down by unpaid taxes and shattered promises. In a beautiful, poetic twist of fate, Maddie's lush 156-acre North Carolina farm has officially become the brand new family headquarters. It is the vibrant, beating heart of the surviving Brown family. Every single major milestone now happens on Maddie's turf. Holidays, birthdays, Thanksgiving dinners, and summer vacations are all being hosted at Taeda Farms. The massive, joyful family gatherings that Kody used to proudly orchestrate for the TLC cameras are still happening. They are just happening 2,000 miles away, and he is never, ever invited. The contrast between the two lives is absolutely staggering, and armed reports suggest it is driving Kody to the brink of a massive meltdown. Rumors suggest that last holiday season, Kody desperately tried to orchestrate a rival family gathering in Flagstaff, allegedly demanding that the network film a massive, lavish dinner at his and Robin's house to prove he was still the center of the family. But exclusive theories claim that practically no one from the OG family RSVP'd, leaving Kody staring at an empty dining room table while his older children flooded social media with joyful, bustling pictures from Maddie's farm. It's been said that seeing Janelle, Christine, and dozens of his own children and grandchildren laughing, cooking, and honoring Garrison's memory on the sprawling green lawns of North Carolina absolutely shattered Kody's ego. He is completely physically and emotionally marooned on an island of his own making. Maddie didn't just move away, she actively cultivated a sanctuary that is entirely immune to his toxicity. By making her home the safe haven for the entire extended family, she cemented the ultimate reality check. The family doesn't need Kody to survive. They actually thrive much better when he is entirely out of the picture. This brings Cody Brown to the absolute point of no return, a psychological precipice that he has been avoiding for years but can no longer ignore. He is finally being hit with the brutal, undeniable reality of his situation. The original children didn't just move on from him, process their trauma, and learn to live without a father figure. They completely, permanently, and entirely replaced him. For a narcissist who built his entire identity on being the irreplaceable, untouchable king of a massive polygamist empire, this is the ultimate destruction of his ego. Kody always operated under the arrogant assumption that no matter how terribly he treated his wives, and no matter how deeply he neglected his older children, they would always leave a seat open for him at the head of the table. He genuinely believed that his absence would create a massive, aching void that would eventually force them all to come crawling back, begging for his leadership. But Maddie didn't leave a void. She filled it. She surrounded her children with healthy, stable, and incredibly present male figures who effortlessly do what Kody always claimed was too difficult. When you look at the men who now occupy the center of Maddie's world, the contrast to Kody is absolutely blinding. Her husband Caleb has become the exact blueprint of the father Kody never was. Caleb is quietly supportive, fiercely loyal, and deeply involved in the day-to-day grind of raising a family and building a homestead. He doesn't need a reality television camera rolling to validate his manhood, and he doesn't demand a chorus of praise for simply doing his job as a parent. Armed insider reports claim that Kody holds a deep, seething resentment toward Caleb for exactly this reason. Rumors suggest that in the early years of Maddie's marriage, Kody desperately tried to mold Caleb into a loyal disciple, hoping to keep Maddie under his thumb by controlling her husband. But exclusive theories floating around the reality television world claim that Caleb saw through the manipulation almost immediately. It's been said that Caleb quietly set an ironclad boundary, refusing to let Kody's chaotic, conditional affection dictate the emotional weather of his own home. By entirely rejecting Kody's toxic mentorship, Caleb protected his wife and showed the world what actual leadership looks like, leaving Kody furious and humiliated on the sidelines. But the replacement of Cody Brown extends far beyond just Caleb. The entrance of Christine's new husband, David Woolley, into the sprawling family dynamic has been the absolute nail in the coffin for Kody's grandfather storyline. David stepped into the chaotic, fractured Brown family and immediately did the exact thing Kody refused to do. He showed up. He embraced the original children, celebrated their milestones, and treated the grandchildren with effortless, unconditional warmth. Verified leaks from production circles claim that Kody absolutely loses his mind whenever the grandchildren refer to David as their grandfather. There is a massive amount of buzz online suggesting that Kody threw a massive tantrum behind closed doors when he saw photos of David happily holding Maddie's children at family gatherings, completely taking over the patriarchal role Kody abandoned. Reports claim that Kody angrily tried to forbid the network from airing any footage of David interacting with his biological grandchildren, arguing that it was a direct attack on his character. But the network allegedly shut him down instantly, pointing out that if Kody actually bothered to visit North Carolina, they would gladly film him instead. Since he refuses to make the trip, David gets the screen time, the love, and the legacy. This massive shift in family dynamics has triggered what many believe is a total financial panic inside Kody and Robyn's $1 million Flagstaff mansion. The stakes have never been higher because the network is entirely aware of where the actual heart of the show now beats. There are wild, firmed rumors currently circulating that TLC executives have been secretly in talks with Janelle and Maddie about launching a massive, multi-part spin-off series focused entirely on Taeda Farms. Exclusive theories suggest that producers have realized the audience is utterly exhausted by Kody's endless bitterness and Robyn's perpetual victimhood. Instead, viewers are incredibly hungry for a story of resilience, healing, and female empowerment. It has been said that Kody caught wind of these secret spin-off discussions and practically went nuclear, allegedly threatening to sue the network if they dared to create a show bearing the Brown family history without giving him a massive cut of the profits and an executive producer credit. Verified reports claim that Kody even drafted a desperate pitch to the network, begging them to film a redemption arc where he travels to North Carolina to confront Maddie, purely to secure his paycheck. But fans are speculating that Maddie flat out refused to sign the release forms, legally blocking Kody from bringing his toxic circus onto her peaceful 156-acre sanctuary. The psychological torment Kody is experiencing right now is entirely self-inflicted, but he will never admit that. He is watching his entire legacy be completely rewritten in real time. Everything he claimed was impossible without his supreme guidance is happening flawlessly without him. Janelle and Maddie are successfully farming, managing massive plots of land, securing their financial independence, and raising incredibly happy, well-adjusted children. They are building a literal dynasty from the ground up, planting roots in the North Carolina soil that will sustain their family for generations. Meanwhile, Kody is trapped in Flagstaff, staring at the barren, muddy, and heavily taxed dirt of Coyote Pass. The grand, sprawling polygamist compound he promised to build remains nothing but a graveyard of broken promises and financial ruin. The visual metaphor is absolutely stunning. While Maddie is cultivating life, growth, and vibrant beauty at Taeda Farms, Kody is presiding over an empty wasteland. He has become the king of nothing. The most profound realization in all of this is how the family has handled the devastating tragedy of Garrison's passing. In the darkest, most agonizing moment of their lives, the family didn't turn to Kody for strength, guidance, or comfort. They turned to each other. They rallied around Janelle. They leaned on Christine, and they used Maddie's farm as a sanctuary for healing. When Maddie named her beautiful newborn daughter after Garrison, it wasn't just a touching tribute. It was a permanent, generational declaration of who actually matters in this family. She completely scrubbed Kody's identity from the newest branch of her family tree. There is no trace of his influence left. He demanded that everyone bow down to the Brown family name, but Maddie realized that a name means absolutely nothing if the man carrying it is entirely devoid of honor, loyalty, or unconditional love. She didn't have to launch a massive, dramatic public smear campaign against her father. She didn't have to go on a press tour to destroy his reputation. Maddie's ultimate revenge was far more brilliant, calculating, and devastating. She simply lived well. She built a life so incredibly massive, abundant, and full of joy that Kody's absence isn't even felt anymore. Kody is now entirely isolated, left alone with the exact life he demanded. He wanted blind loyalty, and he got it from Robyn, but at the absolute cost of every other meaningful relationship he ever built. He sits in a quiet house, completely cut off from the massive, vibrant, beautiful family that he once claimed was his greatest achievement. The original children didn't just survive his neglect, they thrived in the quiet space his absence created. They took the absolute worst of what he gave them and turned it into an unbreakable bond. Maddy Brush outsmarted, outworked, and entirely outclassed a man who genuinely believed she was nothing without him. She completely erased Cody Brown's legacy, not with anger, but with overwhelming success. The empire has officially fallen, and a brand new, incredibly powerful matriarchy has taken its place. If you are as utterly fascinated by this massive family shift as we are, and you want to keep up with all the untold truths, explosive secrets, and behind-the-scenes reality television drama, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment down below letting us know if you think Cody will ever finally admit his mistakes. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see